Hello. I want to talk about the universal I, the real you or me. I normally plan these videos out and make notes, but my notes are a bit sparse today because for some reason I don't want to make any notes. So it's going to be spontaneous. There you go. They're usually pretty spontaneous anyway because I only glance at the notes to remind me what I'm on about. But for this particular video, I haven't been able to make any notes. Just sat there and meet a blank wall, so I'll just do it, okay? I guess this one has to be straight from the source. So what it's about is, what is this true self that all the enlightenment gurus and what have you talk about? You have a false self and you have a true self, and we're all supposed to get back to identifying really with the true self and not the false self to be enlightened. So I think we're pretty clear about the false self. It's the ego, that is the life story, the thoughts that trundle along in your head, whether you want them to or not, actually, and that which essentially are not really under your control. They're under your control in the same way that breathing is. You can control it a bit, but not for long. Right. That's the false self. Okay. You might identify with your job. You know, I'm a widget maker or something. That's not you. Your body is not exactly you because you can chop bits off of it and you're still there, depending on which bits. And so on, right? Not this, not that. That's one of the things that a lot of the gurus do to try and point you at the true self. I think it's actually simpler than that. There is, I think, in all of us a sense of I. That is what it is like to be me, or what it is like to be you. And I think we're all aware of that. Like, for me, I have this idea or feeling of what it's like to be Martin. There's this sense, not of the narrative Martin, but of actual true self. A sense of what it's like being me. And this has been the same ever since childhood. Even as a child, I had this sense of what it's like to be me. And that is the true self. So not the life history, the things I think I should be, and the way I should behave, and so on and so forth. It's simply the subject of experience. So not the objects of experience that you sense out there, the subject, the witness, as it's called by some, just the sense of being who you are, sense of being the self. And that's it. Not the verbal mind, not even the things that you're seeing and hearing, or it helps to focus on those to quieten the mind, because the mind is a big distraction. But ultimately we all know exactly what it feels like to be me, or in your case, you. And that hasn't changed throughout our lives, or it doesn't feel like it's changed for sure. And that's it, that's all it is. Identify with that, if you have to identify. And you're there. The fact that it hasn't changed throughout an entire life, the sense of what it's like to be me, in my case, tells me that it is unconditioned. It is not conditional on the events of your life. it is much more fundamental than that. Some people say it is formless. It's not an object that you can really pin down. If it's generated by the brain, of course it will go when we die. But materialism is actually not even consistent with modern physics, let alone philosophy. Actually, it's a crazy idea. The self is probably more fundamental than the matter, but that's a matter for philosophy. Okay. But the fact that it hasn't changed throughout an entire lifetime, when the world has changed, every atom in my body has changed, probably, and yet it's still the same, the feeling is the same, or seems to be the same. If it is the same, it's probably actually identical in you too. The sense of being me is probably identical to the sense of being you. It's the same. And in all conscious beings it's probably the same, because it is not conditioned by the conditions of life. It's behind all of life, probably. I mean, this is all, we'll have to wait for science to catch up on this sort of philosophy. But nevertheless, when talking about the true self, that's it. Any questions? Comments below? I may start making fewer videos, because I'm kind of feeling like I've said enough for the time being. I may do a few, I don't know, but the frequency may go down. Just letting you know. Okay, bye for now.